Tiswell's action. Love a bit of Tiswell's. As always, I have a brave soul in the green room who I'm sure doesn't know what Tiswell's is. If I remember, we will fill him in. Tiswell's is the greatest thing. Well, one of the greatest things ever. What do you think one of my favorite movies is? I'll throw that out there for the audience. What do you think one of my favorite? One of my favorite, and I think one of the most perfect movies are. I'll let you think about that for a second before I say good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending where you are in this world. Are you in front of me and timing you backwards? Are you sideways? Who knows what they're seeing? I'm sorry, I'm getting all these alerts popping up on my screen. It's freaking me out a bit. Before Sabbath, it's safe. Okay, so let's wind this back. So for me, it is Saturday night. Saturday night means when Sabbath ends. I am offline from Friday at about 7:30 at night for 25 of your human Earth hours. Anything could happen in that time. You don't directly use electricity, you don't watch TV, you don't use your phone. I mean, you do in case of like emergency and like death and things like that. And then, the other gentleman just joined us in the green room. But generally, you're offline. So then it comes a Motzei Shabbos. Motzei Shabbos. That's the Hasidic way of pronouncing it. In the cool kids say Motzash. It's an abbreviation of Motzi after Shabbat. So there's Motzash. Motzash is always a bit of a scary time. You don't know what could possibly happen. What could have happened in the last 25 hours? The only times I really did go down, I would say, is during the Trump campaign, the first campaign, and then somebody came out over on Friday, and it'd be all Sabbath for us, like Hillary Clinton's husband, aide's husband, has been like sexting, but it had like Russia. I can't even remember. It was just bad news. It was bad news for the Clintons. They were not happy. But that was the only time. I remember him walking in with his iPad going, yeah. So there's that. So anyway, for me, it's been quite an eventful Shabbat. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen. It's what happened? The dog Daisy is pretty much house trained now, as long as we let her out. We were crate training her. She was sleeping in a crate, not anymore. She sleeps in our bedroom, in our bed, right? She's in my marital bedroom myself, and I don't want to excite you all, but also my good lady wife. She's a lot of fun to snuggle up with. She's very snuggly. She's very furry. I did see Derek Manis in the chat saying David does Dallas. I don't know how we got there, but I'm looking forward to finding out how the chat got up there. Let me wind the chat back to the beginning. I know. Okay. Yes, she does. God bless her. So the dog's sleeping in her bedroom. Last night, about 4 a.m, dog's like gets up, is up, starts barking, and like really going for it. I was like, whoa, Daisy, what's up, mate? What's up? And then my wife gets up first. She goes and looks in the kitchen, doesn't really see anything. And then dog gets up again. And then fine, I'll get up and look. We have a cat. We have we don't have a cat. The neighborhood has a cat, a stray cat that is incredibly intelligent, right? Incredibly and ruthless. Do not cross this cat. This cat is the cat you want to be led by in the event of the apocalypse, right? You want that cat to be. He's worked at. We call him Bad Kitty. He gets into people's homes, and he's broken into our home. Like he gets the screen open. He has to climb up this ledge, and then he's very inventive how he even worked it out. He gets the screen open, and then if he does this to the window and it's not closed properly, he comes in and he sneaks in. So that's what happened. So this morning, the dog went crazy again. I saw the window open like that much. I'm like, that's Bad Kitty. That's Bad Kitty been at play. And then this morning, there was a little pastry bag, right? And it had one croissant in it with very weird little nibble marks in it. Although I'm like, I bet Bad Kitty got to that. So that was a bit shocking and horrendous, I would say. We woke up at that time. What was I going to say? So yeah, so that was my eventful Shabbat. But yeah, a bit crazy. Then we went for a nice walk. There's lots of comings and goings in the neighborhood. The people are leaving. New people are coming. I'm actually kind of happy. It's going to be like a new broom, So it's like a next generation to a certain extent. So yeah, we got to go and check all that stuff out. But also before Sabbath started, I started a terrifying ordeal. I updated my Mac. My Mac was on High Sierra. Let's see how. One sec. Mac OS High Sierra. I want to see what. How many versions away I was, right? That's like, hang on a second. So if I go over here, because it must have been a while ago, like 2017, and I hadn't, because I'm always scared to update it, right? Preceded by, okay, so after that you have Moab, and after that you have Catalina. And then, not so much. Big Sur. It's like 3 or 4. I'm like 4 behind. Anyway, so I was terrified of doing it. And it did a lot quicker than I thought. And it was nearly done before Sabbath, but it was like about 10 minutes out. So I had to wait now, finally, to get on and go, is it working? Is my software working? Things working? Because that's what I'm always scared of when I update. But it seems to be working a trip much better than it was before, so I'm really quite excited about it. So hello everybody, how are you? As you know, this is a brave new world for me. I don't know what world's gone down, baby. Other than we've been I've been invaded by a cat. I've been what's I say? Yes, I would say molested by a cat. Other than that, and I haven't seen him. He's a bit of a slippery fella. His bad kitty. Anyway, well, now I'm seeing PD Rick saying Hancock resigned. Why? Because he had a snog. I didn't see that whole story. I just saw this British politician apparently had a snog. With a snog, by the way, if you're American, is I will say first base, kissing, mouth open. Maybe hand up the sweater. My wife will say it's good. That's getting close to second base, of course. But we have men from Mars, men from Venus, baby. We all differ. Anyway, really? Yeah, no, blimey. So see, that's a great example. That was a shocking moment for me. Shocking and terrifying, right? So, what I normally do, I normally have hardy men, men of steel, men of iron. Personage. I mean, it could be the ladies too. I am partial to the ladies. Men of steel, men of iron. Anyway, people of grit and determination to help me through this fragile time. And we'll look at the news together, right? Who knows or dares to dream what may have been? Also, this is another frightening time. Starting, I guess, tonight or tomorrow morning is this period of mourning in the Jewish calendar called the 3 weeks, which is if bad shit goes down for the Jews, it's around now, right? Apart from all the other bad shit that went down, not around now. So, it's always like, today's the day you have to do repentance. Why? Because it's this one. But it's always that or something or this or that. I mean, come on. But anyway, it's the 3 weeks, baby. 3 weeks. So it's a time to be paranoid. It really is a time to be paranoid. And I think this year more so than most. So anyway, it's a scary time. Who knows what can be? So anyway, my first guest is an incredible gentleman. He was released from a circus at a young age. His act was he would get steel beams, girders, right, and he would bend them with his teeth. He's a dangerous man to know. He's just done a quick tour in Penthurst for sheep bothering, but also he was out country as well. Maybe for some international intrigue. We don't know. We're not going to ask. He's of course the man you've been waiting for. The sad, the mad, the dangerous to know. Andy, first man, and I can't read your last bloody name. Smith.
What is up? Hello, everybody. Well,
how are you?
How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm pretty darn good, sir. Oh, awesome. I am so glad. I'm so glad I just went into a wider mode. That drawing behind you is fantastic.
Well, thank you. That's one of the first banners I ever got for doing conventions about 14 or 15 years ago.
It's so cool though that you can get all this stuff now that you had to be a big booth guy to have this back in like the 90s, right? It's like now you get all this stuff, bespoke print. It's not even blinking.
No, everybody has banners now, but that was one of the first. Right. That's when it was still a rarity. But now, my kid could go out and get a banner and go set up at a convention.
Right.
No.
Right. So wait, who's the character behind you? Is that character in First Man?
That's Penumbra from First Man. That's it.
There you go. So look, let me ask you. I remember there being a First Man in like the 80s, and it seemed to have a similar font cover. Is that you?
Not the 80s. In 1997, I originally released.
My memory's a bit shot. What can I tell you?
Yeah, I mean, 97 is still a long time ago.
Right.
I released one issue of First Man through Image Comics back in 1997.
All right.
So that's possibly.
I remember the logo. I thought, I thought that was a good name and a good like branding. I thought everything about it was good. I didn't read it.
You can read it now. You can read it now.
Well, it's when I saw it, it's very recognizable. That branding is very good.
Thank you. Yeah, and I got to give a shout out to my buddy Steve Dutro. He designed the logo. We went to art school together at the Joe Kubert School.
Oh, cool.
And we actually, in our first year of art school, they had, for first year students, they have housing that you can take advantage of, kind of like dorms. And that's where I met Steve. And, we went through all 3 years of school together, and he became a letterer and has worked for pretty much everybody and still does it. So.
And, I felt bad for letterers because, like, again, when I was like getting into comics in the 80s, you had to be a hand letterer. That was the only option, right? And nothing else. I did a couple of comics, then I had to hire a letterer. But now I'm a graphic designer. Like now with the plethora of fonts, and you get a Brian Boland font and Dave Gibbons, like you get crazy for like the plethora of fonts out there. It's like I think that must have really hurt lettering. I think it's hurt lettering as a craft in general.
Oh, it still is.
Yeah, but I also think it must have hurt the industry. I mean, it must have so few people making money in lettering now.
Yeah, I think basically the best that were out there doing hand lettering, and that's what Steve started with, because this goes back to 1991.
Right.
Steve is a great hand letterer. Of course, he turned his hand lettering into a font, and that's what I use, or what he does, because I still have him letter all my stuff. And there's just things to it. Like, I know I could probably, within a week or two, learn all the, like, lettering itself in Illustrator isn't that hard because it's typing, but doing the balloon shapes and sound effects and all that.
It's a pain in the ass. It's
exactly.
a massive pain in the ass.
Exactly. And I've tried.
I'd rather pay somebody to do it. Right.
And that's just it. I've tried it for small things. Like if it's a page or two I'm doing for somebody outside of comics, like advertising, I'll do it.
How many pages? Let me think. Hang on. I've done 220. No, 180, say. And then there's another 2, 4, 6. 8. So was it 182? I've edited at least 300 pages.
Yeah, I think on at Steve's max, he was probably doing 100 to 200 pages a month.
Whoa! So, man, that's a lot. That's a lot.
You got to figure even when he was hand lettering. But see, look at it like this. Here's the breakdown that I was taught when I was at the Kubert School. When I was at the Kubert School, it was basically a penciler should pencil 1 page a day. An inker should ink 1.5 pages a day. A colorist, and this is before computer coloring, a colorist should do probably 3 to 4 pages a day. And a letterer.
But the back then was just flats.
Well, no, it was rendered some, but it was still coloring with Dr. Martin dyes and watercolors on photocopies. That's how they used to do it.
Right,
and you would do 3 to 4 pages a day, and then a letterer, hand lettering, should probably do at least 10 pages a day.
Wow.
And that's hand lettering. And the reason is
that's a nightmare.
Not really. I mean, the reason it broke down like that is because they would look at what basically a penciler would make, and to make a good living.
I totally hear the economics of it. I'm just imagining being the guy having to do that. It just
but he enjoys it.
Crushes my soul. That's awful.
Dude, I hear you. And the few things, because I've hand lettered a few things, and I had to do it when I was in the Kubrick school. I hated it. I couldn't stand it. But
it's a nightmare.
He enjoys it.
Listen, okay. Look, in Judaism, you have this thing called Yehud, right? Yehud, you have Yehud and Tikkun. Tikkun is your challenge, right? Like, if if you're a particularly horny guy, like me, I'm a particularly horny guy. Some people like to steal, some people like to gamble. Everyone has their own little vice, right? Everybody knows what. Right, and it's like, God bless them. What can you say? I just got lost in being horny. Okay, like what was I know?
Well, you're a man, so I mean that's part of it. As soon as you mention horny to a man, we're like, what?
You're right.
It's like telling a dog squirrel.
Wait. So, I totally lost my train of thought. Why was I talking about being horny? I was just like, well, that's my natural state.
I assume it was about. I can't remember the saying. Well, actually, I can't.
Tikkun, right? Tikkun. There you go. That's the one. Thank you.
See,
right. So Tikkun is your thing that you should avoid, right? That's the thing. The alcoholics know not to have a drink. That sort of thing. Right. Okay. Yehud is the opposite of that. It's the thing that you have a complete affinity for. Something that you just love doing, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. It's his Yehud. It's a happy thing to find your Yehud. So I want to tell you, we have good news. It's not just you holding my hand in this strange, brave new world, but I think you are hard enough to be able to. However, we're going to somebody who's never had to worry about lettering, as far as I know. He's worked in an entirely different medium. Do you like radio drama?
Oh yeah, I do. I haven't done it in a while, but I had a radio show.
Sorry.
I had a radio show about 12 years ago with a couple buddies. I've done improv, stage improv and stuff. So yeah, I love that stuff.
All right. So have you ever seen Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Fine. So he does audio drama Doctor Who, like fan order, and they're awfully good. I have to tell you. Again, he's just out from from detachment in Beirut. We're not going to say why. But it's good to get him while he's on his home soil. It is, of course, inevitable. How am I going to say this? Gentlemen, come. Hello, gentlemen, come. Well, I feel the same way, quite frankly. I was wrong. Gentlemen, come. Sorry.
Not quite.
I was wrong. I apologize.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can indeed.
No, not quite. How you pronounce it's not quite the same. It's just gentlemen CMM.
Gentlemen CMM. You see where my mind's at.
You inserted that vowel right there.
Yeah, dude. It's
just the letters.
Capital or something. It's what's CMM stand for?
Oh, it's just my initials.
Sorry.
Just my initials. Christopher McKeon.
I just thought it was like, now look at your Twitter, it's Black Studio. I'm like, really? I was going to like say, oh, here we go. It's called, you're Chris.
I'm Chris.
There you go. I'm definitely scrambling for my Facebook to have a look. So anyway, listen, it's a freaky night for me. I've just installed my new operating system, right? Is there any chance you can put headphones on or turn the sound out or something? I don't know. I think headphones, it sounds like, will probably be better.
All right, I'll give some headphones. Just a moment.
No problem. No, I will tap dance. Well, you know what I'll do? I'll read the chat. I'll say hello to the chat while we're doing this. Thomas Preston, first man like and first comment. Well, there you go. It's a good combination. Jonathan Goss, I'll second that. Yeah, look, it's a good-looking book. I'm looking forward to going through it. Darren M, how you doing? PD was saying, fine. It's a guy. As far as I can see, on Friday it was a story about this politician getting caught having a bit of a snog, bit of a tongue battle with a secretary of his or something. I don't know. She seemed reasonably willing, right? Nobody seemed like they were being forced to do anything, right? It seemed like everyone was freaking out. I didn't even read the story, but apparently he's resigned. Okay, I don't even know what he did, but it's always funny when a politician feels bad because all politicians are evil scum. Genie Violet, how evil are politicians? The most common training ground is being a lawyer, right? And look, God bless you if you're one of those cool lawyers. there's not many of you. Most lawyers are assholes. Most lawyers are people who like to argue. So there you go. Darren saying hello. Derek Man says, evening, how you doing? Oh, we're going to come up to Debbie Does Dallas in it. They're going to find out why you wrote that. Shalom. Hello, hello. And he just says, Debbie Does. Okay, I don't know why. But let me tell you. Good choice. I believe an all-time classic of the era, right? Did you ever see that show, The Deuce?
Just bear with me one moment.
No problem. And did you ever see The Deuce?
Damn it! It rings a bell. Give me a little bit about it, and I'll tell you.
As they're playing a dual role, James Franco. He's been cancelled, so I keep forgetting. James Franco was in it playing a dual role, and so was Maggie Gyllenhaal, and it's about the birth of the porn industry, right? So
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I never caught it.
Really interesting. The second season there. So the first season I find a bit icky, right? First season it hasn't really started yet, and it's about prostitutes and like in Times Square, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like kind of gross. The pimps were cool though. I like the pimps talking about politics of the day, about how Nixon should do that. That's all very cool. I like all that. But other than that, it was just too grim, but it's like gross. So the second season, they all started suddenly making money doing this. And it was like, it was just more upbeat, but you got to see a lot. Like this was now in the early 80s, right?
Yeah.
And then I think the third season was in the late 80s. And that was a bit, late 80s and 90s. I would think started falling apart, I think.
So wait, what year did the first season take place?
Like mid 70s.
That's what I was going to say. It had to be if it's the birth of the porn industry. Yeah, it had to be.
Mid 70s. And it's fascinating. It really was fascinating. Right. So, but Debbie Does Dallas will be I know the pinnacle that they like. It was that they had Maggie Gyllenhaal played this like former prostitute, prostitute the first season anyway, and who becomes this director. And she's like this really visionary director, like Paul, but and that really understands is where porn and art meets.
Okay.
Right.
But it was, and I know that sort of thing happened. So Debbie Does Dallas is totally from the era. Gentlemen, CMM.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry,
you want to change that? Let me tell you.
Thank you. The thing.
How can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yes.
Where are you from? I recognize an accent, but I can't discern it.
It's the weirdest thing. I am from Los Angeles, California, a city called Whittier.
No, you're not. No, you're not. That's not a Los Angeles accent.
Who knows why? I don't have much of an answer for you. I just try to speak and pronounce my letters very carefully. But no, I'm an American. I'm from California.
There you go. You seem to be breaking into a bit now. Okay, now I believe you.
There you go.
Andy, where are you from?
I'm in North Carolina.
Well, very nice. I've driven through North Carolina. My wife is from Columbia, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Columbia. She lived in Atlanta, but lived in Columbia for a while. Yeah, definitely Columbia. Right. Out in the middle. Okay, fine. Let me get to the chat again. Sorry, I forgot what I was doing. Milk City, how you doing? Darren M, how are you? Did I miss anybody? Problem being, how are you? Reason for felicitation. I missed a lot of people. Okay, now I'm really going back. I'll go back to I'll find Debbie Does Dallas, which is just always good advice in whatever situation you find yourself in. Okay, there you go. Derek McManus, Debbie Does Dallas at 9:31. That theme, that's a good way. Listen, if you start quoting porn movies I haven't heard of, then you get. Here's the thing. Here's if you got a problem with porn. Okay, if you know the name of any guy actor in porn, unless you're gay, obviously, but any guy actor in porn, right? Who you really shouldn't be. If you know their names, you watch too much porn. Okay, you should. Okay, Ron Jeremy is your pass. Everybody's allowed Ron Jeremy because everybody knows Ron Jeremy. But if you know the names of the guys in porn, you watch too much porn, right? If you normally eat at the free buffet in a strip club, you go to a strip club too much. Your life is a problem, right? Don't do that.
I'd like to also add, besides Ron Jeremy,
yes,
you're allowed another one as well.
Okay,
John Holmes.
sorry.
John
Who?
Holmes. John Holmes.
Okay, that's fair.
If you know those two
John
people,
Holmes is mentioned in a Tarantino movie, you're fine.
Yeah, if you know those two porn actors, you don't watch too much because those are the ones everybody knows.
Ron Jeremy's fascinating. So when he dies, somebody's got to make a great movie about him. He's absolutely fascinating. He's like this fat old guy who just sleeps with lots and lots and lots of insanely hot women.
Didn't he just get convicted though? I thought he just got convicted of something and sent up. I thought so.
I don't know. I'm sorry to know. But he's weird. Like when he travels the country, he doesn't have suitcases. He uses like bin liners. He's a weird guy. Fascinates me. Absolutely fascinates me. Him, Richard Simmons, somebody should do a series on just weird people. Like, Netflix have like, Toys That Made Us. Like, weird people. I would love to see a documentary on him.
I got to be honest. I'd love to see a documentary or a biopic on Richard Simmons where they actually cast somebody and just did his life, because he's been out of the spotlight now for so long.
Right.
And it's supposedly because. What's that?
Like, I was like, now it's so fashionable being gay. He never came out, did he?
I don't think so. No.
Right, but now it's so fashionable. Couldn't he? Really? You think? Maybe now's time.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like really, like it's a detriment to be.
But even with him, he could have. I believe he could have came out in the '80s, and everybody would have been like, no,
exactly. Duh. It was silly. It really was. It really was. But hey, whatever. I mean, it was very obvious. But I'd love to see a docudrama about. Did you ever see the HBO movie about Tattoo from Fantasy Island?
No, I didn't. But he was fascinating. That guy was.
But so it was played by what's his name, Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones. And he was brilliant. It's just a brilliant performance, like breathtakingly good performance.
Now, I don't mean to. I mean, there's no. Basically, the question I have is, because I haven't seen it, but now I want to see it. Did they do anything to Peter Dinklage's skin tone to darken him up some? Because Peter Dinklage is a white dude. Yeah. Tattoo.
This was made back in the free days of 2016, before the dark times, before the Empire.
Yeah, I heard about the movie, and if it's on HBO, I still have HBO, so I could probably find it.
It's really good. It's really good. It's fascinating.
Here's what I have a question. I'm assuming they had to cast somebody to play Ricardo Montalban, the boss of Fantasy Island. Did they or no?
I do remember. I get the feeling it was somebody famous. I can't remember.
It would have to be, but I would just love to see.
Let's go to IMDb.
Yeah, let's.
We'll look up Peter Dinklage. This is inquiring minds want to.
Inquiring minds want to know, because I'm even more interested to see the movie, to see who they cast to play him, and see how well the actor did playing Ricardo Montalban.
As I recall, it was pretty good. Fine. So 1 second, because I've just updated my system. It's asked me if I want to do this, and yes, I do. Okay. Share. 1 second. Chrome tab. IMDb. Okay, there we go. Is it working? There you go. So let's go up Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage. Oh, does it? Black Widow is gonna bomb hard. Don't you think?
I don't know. I honestly, I won't. I'm not going to make a prediction on it, just because I don't mind the trailer so far.
I don't mind it, but there's the energy from it has been sapped away.
Well, that's just it. The energy of
done, right?
Right. The energy of putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And
it's not just that. It's that people have seen WandaVision, they tuned in, they went, no thanks. Like towards the end, they're like, this is just bullcrap. Leave me alone, right? And then they tuned in for Winter Soldier, and that happened a lot quicker. That happened in episode 2.
Right.
Which one is this? I'm
trying to see what the title of that, because I know the movie you're talking. Oh wait, My Dinner with Hervé. It's the top one, 2018.
Well, I think we're what?
It's My Dinner with Hervé.
That's it. Where was that? Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I do recall that now. Oh my God! Go. Look at him, dude. Can you play the trailer?
We'll play the trailer. Okay.
I gotta see.
It might not. Oh yeah, well. turn it up 1 second.
1 month clean and sober.
Miracles are possible, man.
I want you to interview the most famous dwarf in the world. Man with the golden gun, Fantasy Island. The plan! Think you can handle that?
That's fine.
I haven't given an interview in 10 years. I have a real story for you, Junior.
Really? Are you getting money?
Scared?
What is this story of yours then?
Just because a man is small doesn't mean he has to act it. I understand what I must be. You're gonna be great.
Smiles, everyone.
Being on this show is like winning the lottery.
Tell me what it felt like to be famous.
Being famous is like being drunk. Except the whole world is drunk with you.
Hervé, you just don't remember how bad it got.
Those stories are lies.
It is public record.
You will not take our show down!
What are you doing?
It must feel good to think that you're better than everyone else.
Do you think you're the only one who's had a tough life? You don't own that.
What gives you the right to judge, Junior? You don't fool me.
Watching the fire, getting higher on this strange little star.
And that would be a story. Yeah, it certainly would.
Yeah, that was good.
Nice. Let's see who played him because it didn't show. He looks good though, whoever it was.
I checked. It's Andy Garcia.
Really?
Oh, yeah,
Andy Garcia.
I knew it was somebody famous.
yeah. He looked good.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No, I think because you need a real actor for that. Okay, one second. Chris, let me ask you.
Yes.
Chris does Doctor Who audio drama, right?
Yes. Yes.
So obviously, a lot of time, all the time you do it, you have to recast people. You know, as a they've just released. Okay, so Andy, if you don't know, in the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who, about 7 years ago, they added in the whole new mystery Doctor Who you never heard of before, and it was very cool. We all really liked it. It was played by this huge, massive actor in England called John Hurt. I've got to get back to the chat before I forget. Played by this huge, massive actor in England called John Hurt. So after he did it, there's a company that makes audio drama called Big Finish. And sadly, he had cancer, but he wanted to work. So he wanted a job where he can sit down. So they recorded like a full season's worth of stories with him. That was very good. So they were going to do more, but he passed away from the cancer, right? So they've just released a new set recasting him. And they found this guy from the internet. Freaking incredible. I think it was incredible. Chris, have you heard it as yet?
You mean the new stuff? What's it called? The War Doctor Begins?
Yeah. Have you heard it?
No, I haven't heard it. I have heard of the guy that is the new John Hurt. That's the actor playing this particular Doctor, Jonathan Carley.
Incredible! It's totally incredible. It's like it's mind blowing. It sounds like John Hurt. John Hurt is a very famous. Okay, you ever seen Alien?
Okay, heard of it.
Okay, so in Alien, remember the first guy who dies from the alien? He gets a thing on his face and it comes out of his chest. You know, that's John Hurt.
Yeah.
Right. So he was also in Caligula and like all these big things. So he was Doctor Who. So they brought him in as like so they have this guy playing him essentially, and you can't tell it's not him. It's just really incredible, and the stories are good too. So that gets a strong on.
This is visual too. So you're saying even looks wise, he looks like John Hurt?
No, it's not visual.
Okay, one second. Let me find. I'll find it for you. Wait. We go to.
It's all audio.
And gentlemen, how have you not seen Alien?
Imagine me. You can't see my face. You only hear my voice.
I know.
How have I not seen Alien?
Yeah.
I just don't know much about the 80s.
I don't know how old you are, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're a young guy.
I am a young guy. Well, put it this way. Well, there are a few things I don't watch much. Well, good. Let's take it back. In your conversation when you talked about pornography, actors, I've never watched pornography, and Alien's not pornography. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there's a lot of things I haven't seen. So
listen,
so
for all you know, it could be. You never know. You haven't seen it.
It's
that's
classic,
true.
In
That's
fact,
true.
one of my favorite
there's just certain
lines-
things I haven't seen.
Okay.
One of my favorite lines in the second Addams Family movie. The first two Addams Family movies are freaking awesome. When Christopher Lloyd as Uncle Fester, those two first Addams Family. We're going to get to your projects in a minute. After I finish, but the first two Addams Family movies, freaking. One of the best lines in it is when who was it? I can't remember who played the villainess. She's a Black Widow. She finds and marries rich men, and then they die mysteriously, right? And so she keeps trying to kill him, but because he's Uncle Fester, he never dies, right? So he's still alive. So like he confesses he's never had sex before, and so whoever I can't remember the name of him.
I don't know.
She says, "Well, how do you know we're not doing it right now?" The same way. Anyway, might be talking about. Anyway, mate, this is the audio drama I was talking about. There's
Yes.
I'll show you the trailer, but it's like a CD. People just buy the CD.
Yeah.
But these trailers are awesome. Hang on. This is boring. No, this is just a scene. I wonder where's the trailer? No, wrong one. Listen to trailer. Hang on. In your own time. Is this on? Okay, I'm trying to sell you a bloody CD, schmuck. Work.
Exactly.
Well, it's like the War Doctor in general. You'll never know him.
Doctor Who, The War Doctor Begins, Volume 1.
I assumed you were here to help. That you were on our side.
Oh, sides. It always has to be about sides, doesn't it?
Doctor of War, make your choice.
So anyway, it's an audio drama. That's basically what I'm trying to show you. It's like you listen to it. Yeah. Fine. Chris. Let me do it in the chat. Then Chris, maybe we'll talk a little bit about what you do. Then we'll get onto Andy's book, right? Which is a really good. I'm happy just looking at the picture behind you right now. But anyway, let me get to the chat. Stephen, do you write? Do you do the art writing, or do you just write?
You mean me?
Talking to me?
Yeah, Andy.
Oh no, I co-write it and I do all the art except for the coloring. I hire out for the coloring and stuff.
Oh,
I draw it. Yeah, no, I drew the whole book and I co-write it.
Stefan Amaru asks, is a Rabbi house trade? It depends. I hope Dre is not drunk it. No, we keep keeping off the beer. This dog, I've had this dog since she was a puppy. She was like 2-3 weeks old. I think 5 weeks. She was really tiny, right? She didn't have a nose, and she was so small. Anyway, so she's grown up over the. We got her in December, right? So when she was young. My son who's living the life of Riley, he's just about finished the army. He's an officer in the army. They begged him to stay on. They offered him like tons of money, right? Just tons of money, like this huge. But he wants to leave and go to school. And this kid knows his head. He knows what he wants to do. But anyway, with a stimulus check, he got a stimulus check from the U.S. government. Bought a smoker. Freaking awesome. Recommend you all get smokers. They are just freaking awesome. And then it was his birthday. We got him a beer tap, like built in like a home beer tap thing. So the dog was getting to it. I noticed the dog started throwing up like a lot. Like I wonder, and I realized she'd been drinking the beer. She'd been on the beer, getting herself drunk.
Gosh.
So Peter is I hope he's not drunk again. No, she's not. Perrin Ping, half hour later, I get to say hello. How are you doing, sir? Your favorite movie, Rabbi? Let me think. Can I think of the name of any other Paul movie? I certainly know Debbie Does Dallas. What's the other? Well, I mean, Behind the Green Door. Is that? Yeah, and then can you think of the name of any famous Bourne movie? David Osted, I think, is the only one I can think of.
I mean, that's that's one of the most famous ones. Everybody
Right.
knows,
Oh, wait. No, Deep Throat. There you go.
Oh yeah, Deep Throat.
There you go. That's if anybody else could think of ones that we again, it's a dangerous game because once you start putting things in, you're like, and people are like, wait, what? Fisting Fireman 14? No, I haven't seen 1 to 13 either. What the hell? How are you having any rockets? Things are quiet. Yeah, things are very quiet. It is a Mossad cat, says Stephen Amro. When we had a little war about a month or so ago, I got a rocket like 200 meters away from me.
Oh my gosh!
Really? I was wondering about that too. Yeah.
It was kind of cool. Apple and their non-legacy incompatibility. Good thing about Windows. Whenever you update, it's always terrifying. But it's actually worked out quite well this time. Martin Grabber, how you doing? He would know about his TARDIS. I'm guessing the cupboard because it's good to have a cupboard bigger on the inside. No, it's actually you're supposed to put it on a door, right? But I just hung it up in my office because it looked cool.
There you go.
And I couldn't work out where to put it, but I'm glad we put it there. We go. Tzvi Lebetkin. It wasn't just that he's also been found massaging the coup figures. Okay, and he had an incompetent, unqualified aid against parliamentary rules, but she snogged him. So it's all listen, swings and roundabouts, mate. You know, yeah, she killed millions of people, and she was shit at her job, but. She's a kisser. She's a good kisser. You know, right. You get what you pay for, I guess. Molecular Arts, how you doing? Cam, how you doing? Whizzing through the chat now. Here we go. Snooker Schoolbar, hello, who is another quitters? How are you? I hope you're well on your iceberg floating somewhere in the South Pole. GDM Chronicles, tight line work there. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I've been paying close attention. Darren, it's a bit warm here in Western Canada. Push forward today, but I'm staying hydrated as all good. It was hot here as well. So I'm not sure what the weather was. Okay, Steve Ramon said General is on the board that assumes a health department. Okay, I don't know what's going on. So the hell. Coming into it when the health secretary is tasting your tonsils. Well, you know, it's. You're talking about the guy, the scandal guy. Yeah, but. Yeah, listen. How hard is it? Let's say you're a politician, right? How hard is it to hire a hooker that will come in, do whatever you want, and then shut up? How hard can that be?
Shouldn't be that hard.
Exactly. They always get caught. In the stupidest of ways. There was this show called A Very English Scandal, written by Russell T Davies. It was very good. It was about how this in the 70s when it was just went legal to be gay, it came out that the leader of the third party in England was gay, and it destroyed him. I felt bad for him. Great drama, a great docudrama, written by Russell D Davies. Okay, I'm whizzing through the chat now. Let me see if I find anybody new. If I see it at Tzvi Lebetkin, I will stop and try and take notice of it. 1 second. Anybody new? Probably no. Derek Mass still here. Dr. Alex, how are you, sir? Welcome aboard. Dr. Alex, I nearly read the next chapter in your book today. Nearly read, but then what else I said? I can't remember. I was a bit frazzled by the cat invasion. Tilly Chow, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Although I have a good idea for a gentleman CMM over here, I'm going to tell you. Okay. Yes, I know. I'm trying to finish with probably Rabbi. You have guessed. I'm trying to finish with the chat so I can get. I understand that. Oh my God! It's like I got to be polite to everybody. Let your guests get a word in. Now they listen. This is how it works in Israel, right? If you get in, you get in. You got to be prepared to use your bloody elbows, right?
That's right. You got to get in there and fight.
Exactly. The Ron Jeremy did a movie playing Baron Richardson character. Okay, I'm fine. And PD Rich is always here with links to everybody. Okay, fine. I'm whizzing. I'm 10 minutes behind. Oh no, not again. I don't know what happened. Elephant Man, see the film with John Hurt and Richard Harris. He played Caligula. I was just saying who he was. John Hurt, cool guy. He played Quentin Crisp very well, as I recall. If you cannot back Rabbi's campaign, another campaign that needs is the electric bill or such. Share the campaign on Facebook elsewhere. Taste of the Lust, a little bit one. Somebody says, I don't know what fuck truck means, but okay. There we go. Okay, the problem means laughing now. Yes, listen, let's all line up and laugh at the rabbi. Fine. What was it? He's talking about the leader of the Liberal Party, Jeremy thought was gay, and then planned to kill his lover to keep him alive. They didn't plan to kill his lover. He wanted to frighten his lover, and he had this massive, bumbling, incompetent hitman who didn't know what he's doing, according to the Russell T Davies version of it, which was freaking awesome. Anyway, Chris, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. I'm doing great today. Thank you.
So, Chris, who are you? What are you? How do you end up here today?
Well, I'm an American, and I'm a Doctor Who fan. Somehow, I'm questionably American, but I'm an American. I'm a.
So let me ask you, how did you get into Doctor Who?
You know, it's I got into Doctor Who in a somewhat unique way in that I have grown up with both the classic series and the new series. I watched the classic series on PBS and the new series as it's come out. So I've grown up with all of Doctor Who, and so I just love it.
So where was it that like, what was your first exposure to Doctor Who?
It was probably a story called The War Games, which is the last story of Patrick Troughton's era.
You don't need to tell me. Okay, so The War Games, and it's a 10-part story. It was like this lamb up story. It was 10 weeks long, all in black and white in '69. And basically, what it's incredibly ambitious. It rattles along. Excellent script, and you can just watch it all in one go. But it really rounds up. But what it is, like the first Doctor Who and his friends ends up in the middle of one war, and then they go through a mist, and then there's another one. They realize that they're in this artificial environment with all this war games going on. So they're going from environment to environment, trying to work out what's going on. There are people there with like technology of the technology that Doctor Who had. It's a really cool story, and it's like the last one of Patrick Troughton. Sorry, I digress. Go ahead, then.
It's a good story to start with Doctor Who because if you don't know anything about the series but want to go back to its beginnings and then know quote unquote everything, that's the place to start because it introduces the Doctors, home people, the Time Lords. I argue that it introduces the Master and all that.
I would say if you're starting off Doctor Who, the best place, especially if you're American, is the first Matt Smith episode.
You can start with if you want to start as a jumping on point with the new series, watch the 11th Hour with Matt Smith. If you want to jump onto the classic era, it is. If you want to jump onto the classic era, start with John Pertwee's first story, Spearhead from Space, because that's a fresh start. Or you could just watch the very first episode of An Unearthly Child with William Hartnell and watch the end.
I would start with a story like City of Death.
City of Death is very good. You know, Tom Baker, Lala Ward. Let's see.
I think the normie would appreciate that more. You gotta get past all like that, like dated 70s stuff. So anyway, so you so when did you start making audio drama?
3 years ago, in 2018. This all got started what we call Black Glove Studio, which is a reference to the Master wearing black gloves. You know, the Doctor's arch enemy. Give you a little back history.
Just so you know, he didn't just wear black gloves. One of my favorite masters from the 80s wore all black velvet. Black velvet. You know when George Stanton wanted to wear velvet? That's the Master. He is super gay. He's a super gay racist.
Anthony Ainley. You're talking about Anthony Ainley, the Master.
Yes, exactly. Anthony Ainley is what they called him in school.
Atlee. Oh, God. Well, I'll have to figure out the meaning of that. But yeah, Anthony, yeah, that
I
actually.
meant he was rather partial to having anal sex. I'm sorry, if I wasn't clear.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I got that.
I didn't. Well,
I caught that one.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't.
You learned something new, I guess.
Well,
Something I had to forget.
Listen, honestly, I wouldn't. That's not one thing I would recommend learning. It's like one of the many things I go, oh, I would really rather not. You know, like the internet asks you, like, would you like to see, a man having sex with a donkey? And I'm like, no,
thank you.
I wouldn't like to see that. I wouldn't like to.
No.
And it asks you those questions a lot. Stephen Ambrose says Alien 3 is underrated. Yes, I like Alien. I like the director's cut that's on the last Blu-ray, where it's got like an extra half hour in it. It's really good. I'm not sure why you're saying Alien 3 was underrated, but Alien 3 was underrated. I do agree with you. Terribly sorry.
Well, speaking of no problem. Well, speaking of the number 3, you asked me how I got started 3 years ago.
Right.
We mentioned Antti Ainley as the master. A guy who before him, a couple guys before him that played the master was a man named Roger Delgado. And he was the master in the John Pertwee, the third Doctor's era, from 1970 to 73. But anyway, Roger Delgado played the master in several stories. He was meant to, but by 1972, he was saying he felt that he was losing opportunities to play other work because everyone thought he was a regular on the show, even though he was only a guest star. He was meant to do, so he asked if he could have a final story to the producers and said, can I do one more story and then can you kill me off? Well, sad irony is, before they could plan that last story, which would have been called The Final Game, he himself was killed, the actor, in a car accident while filming a French film in Turkey on the 18th of June, 1973. And so Roger Delgado's final story as the master was never made, this story called The Final Game. Well,
I have to tell you, Chris, you know too much. You know so much details about this. It's kind of stalky and creepy. Like you know when the guy was killed. That's scary.
You learn all the details when you're someone like me. I like to explore. I may not know certain things, but the things I do, I like to explore. Thank you. But he died in 1973, and he was 55 years old. Now, again, here's a date that's going to sound like I'm a creepy guy in that way, but Roger Delgado was born on the 1st of March, 1918. That's important to know because 3 years ago, he was very much in the fandom consciousness because people were saying it's his 100th anniversary of his birth. So knowing this about the actor, I thought, well, it would be nice for his centennial to honor his life in a way. So let's make an audio drama of his of the story he was never able to make, The Final Game. Now there's no script involved. I mean, there's no existing script, so I had to come up with it on my own. So I did, and I wrote a 7-part story for full cast.
So how did you did you have notes from who was supposed to write it? Was it Terrence Dix?
No, it was meant to be written by a guy named Robert Sloman, who you'll recognize him from writing
from
Planet Spiders.
Doom.
Yeah. He wrote the Daemons. He wrote the Time Monster. He wrote the Green Death. He wrote Planet of Spiders, all with Barry Letts, but he's the credited author. It would have been a Robert.
It was Andy. Could you share the screen of your Indiegogo so I could or send me the link to it?
Yeah, I got it. You guys keep doing that.
Sure.
I'll open it up.
Okay, no problem. So you asked me if I had any notes to the script. There is no script.
But did you have notes to what they were planning on doing? So it was like a rough idea. Cool. So are you in the middle of making it, or have you made it?
No, we've made it. To answer your first question, there were no notes. All we know about that story is that it would have featured the Master. It would have been said at the end of season 11 of the classic series. And the only other things we know is there might have been some kind of world catastrophe which would have forced the Doctor and the Master to work together. And in the course of these events, we would have found out that maybe the Doctor and the Master were related in some way, maybe brothers, maybe the same person, like the ego and the mind.
They came out strongly against that in was it Last of the Time Lords or
Last of the Time Lords? Yeah,
they came out strongly against it.
Yeah, they did, and in that story, it's different producers. But put it this way: Barry Letts who was the producer at the time in the John Pertwee era, thought that the Master and the Doctor were probably brothers. John Nathan Turner, who was the producer during the Anthony Ainley years in the 80s, thought that they were probably brothers. RTD
Right.
perhaps thought differently, but in the era of Barry Letts, the idea is they perhaps were brothers or something of that sense. The only other thing we know of that story, the final game, is that the Master, per Roger Delgado's request, probably would have been killed off, maybe saving the Doctor's life. Ambiguous, who knows?
Right.
But yeah, that's public knowledge, said in interviews and such. But in terms of story notes, I had to come up with it all on my own.
Cool.
And
That's
it's
cool.
it's not hard. Thank you. It's not hard doing it, but it is a challenge trying to recreate a story that would have been written in 1973, filmed in 1974. So giving it that ethos, going back
Right.
almost 50 years. Yeah. And
Yeah,
so that's
because
what I did.
you want to give it the time period,
Yes.
references and stuff. So
Of course. And I think you'll understand this, Andy, in the sense of I'm not terribly familiar with comics, but I know one thing, that you've got a lot of eras. I'll put it this way: you've got Superman and Lois on the CW right now,
There
right?
are quite a few. There are
Right.
quite a few.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Well, you've got Superman and Lois on television right now, right? And put it this way: Superman.
By the way, I'm really enjoying that. Andy, what do you think of Superman and Lois?
Oh, I love it. I think they're just hitting it out of the park.
Yeah,
As long as they keep going the way they're going,
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Well, they're immersing themselves in all the lore of Superman in one very cool way, which is they show Superman in the present wearing a certain costume, but how are they immersed in the lore and how do they recreate it? In the flashbacks where Lois Lane has her first interview with Superman, he's wearing the original, or at least a much earlier style of the Superman S, with the black background and a less refined.
Yeah,
S.
I liked all that. I think it was very good.
Well, I'll put another way where you could perhaps, if you immerse yourself but don't do it right, or let's put it this way, don't do it the way fans expect. Think of Star Trek.
Well, Neil Gaiman said exactly that, and he then he kind of went back on it when he wanted to massively change. What's her name?
Well, think of Star Trek right now. I don't know everything about Star Trek, but I have seen the original series, and I have seen some of the later stuff made in the 90s. If they ever did a time travel episode, where you go back to the original Enterprise. Yeah, if you ever go back to the original Enterprise in a time travel episode of, let's say, Star Trek, I don't know, Deep Space Nine, they go out of their way to recreate the sets of the original Star Trek bridge. Current Star Trek is doing it's trying to do that, but it's not necessarily being exact in its replication. So you have to walk a thin line of something that's made today by today's standards, but then be faithful to something that was, in the minds of fans, kind of a sacred thing, meaning, okay, it has to look a certain way. That was the line I had to walk when I wrote these scripts, which is, I'm making it in 2018, but I have to make it feel as if it was something that was made in 1974. And so that was a lot of fun.
Right.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Listen,
I'll tell you how I did that.
Wait, Chris. When we actually look at what you're doing, we'll come back to it in more detail. I want to switch things around a bit. I want to talk about First Man. Are you sure you only did one issue of this? I really remember seeing it around.
Nope, just one.
It really made a strong impression on me there.
Well, that's awesome to know. I appreciate that.
It really genuinely did. I totally remember seeing this. I thought it was around for a while.
No, I just did.
Trade, maybe?
What's that?
Did you put out a trade?
No, there was only one issue, so it was only the one single issue. It wasn't oversized or anything. It was a standard size comic that came out in '97. So I mean, I've done. Okay, you know what you're probably talking of, and I don't have a copy in hand's reach. I mean, I wrote a book called Drawing Dynamic Comics, and I used these three characters in that book. And that's thick.
I don't remember.
That doesn't have the First Man logo anywhere on it.
Yeah, I remember the logo, and especially his position as flying across it. I really remember that.
Yeah, no, it was just the one and done back then, and now I was in a position to bring it back and do it again.
Okay,
and
let's back up for a second. We'll talk about what how'd you get into comics?
Well, typical thing as a kid. I read comic books as a kid. I discovered them when I was about 13 years old. And I was always drawing as a kid. So then once I discovered comics, I was like, oh my God, somebody has to draw this stuff. So I switched over from, drawing cars and stuff, because I was really into cars, to trying to draw as a kid superheroes.
Right.
And then through collecting comics, I saw an ad in the comics for the Joe Kubert School.
Oh, well,
And
I got another. Let
That's
me.
weird.
I think I remove you. 1 second. Let me remove you and add you.
how's that? There we go.
Okay. But your microphone's muted. Let me unmute your mic. Oh, you where's went? Okay, you're back.
Okay. So
There you go. There you go. Good.
no echo. So anyhow, I saw an ad for the Joe Kubert School in a comic book, because that's where they
I remember
advertised.
they were great ads.
Yeah, they
I'm
were
like,
fantastic.
I'm so jealous. You got to go to it.
Yeah, well, I graduated high school and took a year off, and then attended the Kubert School for all 3 years. In my third year of the Kubert School, artist named Bart Sears was teaching there, but he wasn't teaching my class. So I introduced myself to him and showed him some of my work, and he liked it. He saw potential, I guess, and he kind of took me under his wing, and we started hanging out, and he would tutor me. I would show him pages I was doing, sample pages I was doing at the Kubert School, and he would give me pointers, and eventually he took me up to DC Comics in March of my senior year, which was 1991. And
good year to go to DC.
Yeah, and I showed samples.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, and I showed samples around, and editors gave me great feedback and advice, and I took the advice, did up some more samples, went back up a few weeks later, and got my first gig at DC when I was still a senior at the Kubert School, and have been working ever since.
That's how you get jobs. Yeah, that's how you need to network. Yeah,
you got to network, and you got to put the work in. I mean, I think one of the things that impressed them was, after that first trip, they gave me notes, and they said, do up new samples and come back in a couple weeks. And I'm a very literal person, I guess. And I was like, all right, they said a couple weeks. So I gave myself that deadline of a couple weeks to work up new samples and get my ass back up there.
That was the smartest thing you did, right? It's not just quality of work. You've got to be professional.
Right.
And that's what people like. No one is looking for a headache. They're looking for somebody who will do the job.
Right. They want you to listen and do and like you said, do the job. And the other thing too is, and this was from Joe Kubert advice wise, is, Joe was like, look, if an editor asks you how long it took you to draw, if an editor says, can you draw a page a day, and they're looking at the sample pages you're showing them, if it took you 3 days to draw one page, don't lie to them and say you can do it. Tell them, well, you know what? Right, because they're going to give you a deadline and expect you to meet it. So I always went into my sample pages as I'm going to make sure every page I draw, I do in 1 day. Now, it might be a 12, 13, 14-hour day, but it's going to be 1 day.
It's going to be doable in a day. Like, if it's not doable in a day, you can't deliver. You can push yourself and get less sleep. But if it's a 2-day job, you got to do it. You can't do it in less than 2 days.
Exactly. So, all the sample pages I did in basically, a day. I don't know how many hours it took, but each one was 1 day. And I got my first gig, and like I said, knock on wood, that's how I got in and worked for DC. And from DC, I went to Marvel. From Marvel, I went to Image, and then Valiant, and back to Marvel. And just, it's been 30 years. So I've worked for a lot of people.
Professional jobbing, artist. So is this your first crowdfunding thing, or have you done it before?
This is actually my second comic book crowdfunding one. I did one last year on Kickstarter called Jungle Lords Ultra, which was a flip book. So it had, basically I wanted to do a cover for each story. So when you got done reading the book, you could literally flip it. There was another cover for that story, and each story took up almost half of the book. Jungle Lords was a little bit longer, but anyhow, after that, I really want to get back to doing First Man again, because it was a character. I created the design of this character back when I was like 13. So
well, listen, I mean, look, the landscape of the industry right now. This is what you need to do.
yeah,
You know,
Yep.
but I commend you for I commend you for doing it. But this is really what and it really it's a really great way to live, right? You know, it's a really great
do it. Yeah,
yeah. I've you know, I got my Indiegogo going as well, and I got
Sure.
next couple of books lined up. I'm just excited to do them. Right? It's and you know it's much. I somebody said this the other week. It's much easier selling to the well, it is for me anyway. Much easier selling to the client, selling to the end buyer, than selling to one person, selling to like an editor. I can sell a comic to people who want to read a comic. It's selling it to an editor. You got you got to be introduced, and you got to do exactly what you did, right? And you came in at exactly the right time. Like you came in that. Like I started getting into comics in 2016.
sure.
I didn't realize that's exact millisecond. Everybody went insane, right? That's right, exactly there.
Yeah, I got in at a good time. So
yeah.
I
I didn't realize being a white guy was a real. I mean, like genuinely, it's a real problem.
Yeah,
It's bizarre, but this came along, so this is, I mean, for me, it's quite good.
yeah.
So anyway, tell me about this campaign. How many pages is it?
It's 64 pages. It is square bound, so you know that means there's no staples. I got it right here, so nice and square bound, and
Let me enlarge you.
Nice little 64-page graphic novel. Like I said, square bound.
Nice.
It's a standalone story. I mean, there is some subplot to it, but basically, I don't leave it hanging with to be continued. So it wraps up the initial story arc, and then volume 2, which I plan to launch in the next couple weeks, you know, just explores it more. As Luke Henry is the first man. He's a college kid. He gets imbued with this fantastic power, this essence, and kind of like Shazam, he turns from Luke Henry into this other being. So this is what he looks like when he's in his everyday life, living at home. He turns into this guy, but he can turn back to this guy, so he can go back to college and do his normal everyday business. So that's Luke Henry. Monarch is the big bad guy of the first volume, who's trying to collect all these essences. There's basically these 10 essences that are spread throughout the galaxy. Each essence inhabits a different individual on a different planet. Monarch is trying to basically absorb all the essences, and when he gets the last piece to this puzzle, which is the essence of Apollo inside of Luke Henry, he'll basically become the ultimate being, you could say. Penumbra, the female, has a specific link to the essence that inhabits Luke Henry, the Apollo essence, you could say, because the title of the book, and Luke Henry is first man, but the essence of Apollo is what took over Luke Henry.
Okay, so wait, what is the essence of Apollo?
Well, basically and there's not a shot of him because I didn't want to give it away.
All right.
But there's a basically on Apollo and Penumbra's homeworld. Apollo is a different, he's his own being, and in the beginning, we'll say there were these 10 essences, and instead of being contained in one place, they thought it would be best if the 10, as they're referred to, were spread out throughout the cosmos to different planets, and they would inhabit, different individuals on the planet.
That's cool. So I mean,
not all what's that?
From a storytelling terms, you can go through the whole universe.
You could, yeah, and not all the not all the planets inhabitants are humanoid looking like Apollo is, and
right.
Penumbra
So I'm just thinking you can get a like a Green Arrow sort of thing.
Green Lantern, I think you mean.
Green Lantern, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a Green Lantern sort of thing. So basically, this one essence went to the home world of Apollo and Penumbra and chose Apollo to be his host, its host being.
Right.
And then through reading the book, you find out how that essence leaves that home world and why it leaves to search out a new host, and the new host happens to be Luke Henry.
Right.
And then Monarch.
So Luke Henry's just like a normal like a college guy.
He's just a college guy. Yeah, he lives with his mom and dad, college kid. But kind of like you said, the ring, and I've described it this way before too. The ring in the Green Lantern Corps looks for a certain type of being to give its ring to, give the power to. And it's the same with these essences. They all look for a specific type of being. So Luke Henry was chosen for a specific reason out of everybody on Earth to hold on to this essence that Monarch is looking for. And then, of course, there's it comes down to a final battle between Monarch, Luke Henry.
I'm really loving the visuals on this. Like I like your camera placement. It sells the story, but it's dramatic. It's fun to watch. Yeah, that's a great page as well. I love you use the white space. It's
got and it has my sensibilities when it comes to the type of stories I want to tell are humor as well. So there's humor in the book, but it's not like
it's
not meant to be a comedy. It just comes out through the dialogue. Yeah, exactly. There are more pages I've added to the campaign. Now, the campaign's in demand now, so I've added more pages so people can see more of what they're getting as well. This page, for instance, is kind of a dream sequence where Apollo is actually talking to Luke Henry. So it's because they can never be separated and see each other in the real world, just like Billy Batson and Shazam can't separate and see each other. So this is more of a dream sequence where we go into kind of the backstory, and Apollo's kind of telling Luke Henry, look, pal, this is what's gone down. This is why we're where we're at now, and you need to step up, basically.
I forgot you told me. So what's the deal with Apollo? Where's he from? He's like one of the primal things of the universe?
No, Apollo and Penumbra just inhabit another planet, just kind of like, and the planet is more futuristic and more high tech, and it's the one planet that the essence chose for Apollo that is definitely is humanoid. So as you can tell with Penumbra, she looks like just a hot babe.
Right.
But she's from a different planet.
There's
so
nothing
these two
about it. It's we're very happy.
They're from a different planet, and the planet Monarch from is also a humanoid race. But obviously, these are all drawn to scale. You can tell on his planet, he's more of a typical being. So his planet, they're huge because Apollo is 7 feet tall, she's 6 feet tall, and he's 8 feet tall. Okay. So, Apollo and Penumbra are from a distant world, and Penumbra basically doesn't want her world destroyed, so she makes a deal with Monarch to save the world. So, if I give away any more, I just give away too much.
I understand. So you're this is the first one. You're planning a second one. Is the second one same length? It's basically the same characters, right?
Second one is the same length. It involves, this is a sign up page for it. So if you sign up for the second one, you'll get a special 10% discount when I launch it.
Fine. Yeah, definitely. I'm assuming PD Rich will put it in the chat.
That'd be great. These are the two covers. So I do the first cover, then I recruit my buddy Bart Sears to do the variant cover, just like you did the variant for the first one. And the second one takes place more on Earth, and Luke Henry learning. It's actually called, as you can see, First Man 2. And the title's Learning Curve, because now he's back on Earth. It picks up right after the first one ended. he has to learn being this new hero on the planet Earth. There's this group called the Fourth World Foundation that tries to recruit him to help out with a problem that they created.
Right.
And then there is a subplot with Penumbra as well, but unlike the first one, where Penumbra and Monarch were the main focus, threat towards Luke Henry as First Man. In the second one, there's subplot, and the main plot of this story is him dealing with being on Earth, being the new hero, adjusting to his powers, adjusting to being a college kid, and juggling it. And this Fourth World Foundation. Yeah, and then Volume 3, we'll get back to more of the Penumbra Monarch stuff to kind of end the trilogy, if you will. So
Okay.
So that is it.
Good. Sounds cool. Sounds cool. I recommend it. Listen, go check it out.
And the books ship out daily, so I've got them in hand. So if I got 2 orders placed yesterday, actually, from I do a YouTube morning show called Mornings with Andy, and I got 2 orders placed yesterday, and they went out yesterday afternoon. So
excellent. I am like, oh, by the way, that reminds me, I got I just got artwork in for. Let me, where did I get it from? My campaign did well enough to get funding for some extra pages. So we put in
Nice.
5 pages. Just got the artwork in. I've got to make a change to it. It's just opening up right now.
Cool. I'm going to pull this out. So we're back to this. I actually hate to do this. I've got to run. My wife and child. We're going to the movies. So
nice.
What are you seeing?
We're seeing. My daughter is 18. She's a big fan of Ryan Reynolds, like I am. So we're going to go see The Hitman's Bodyguard 2.
Oh, right. My daughter saw that.
She already saw it?
Yeah, I think she went last week. She very excited to get to the cinema. Just although I think, listen, they got this new Indian variant that's opening up. That's getting a bit crazy. Like, so I think everything's going to be closed down again pretty soon.
Yeah. So we're gonna go see that. I love Ryan Reynolds. He's one of my favorites as well. My daughter really enjoys his movie. So we're gonna go check that out. The first one was great.
Listen, what I look for in like a movie star is, will you entertain me? Like exactly. Tom Cruise, I know is going to entertain me.
Yeah, he's a crazy guy, but he's entertaining as hell.
Yeah, his movies are awesome. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like about Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Arrest him and send him to jail, or put him back in movies. One of the two, okay?
Right. Like, yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. It's like, look, if he broke the law, take him to trial, put him on trial, and if it ends up where it's like, hey, you're doing time, well, pal, you're doing time. If not, then get over it and let him act again. So.
Oh, boy. Darren M just gave you your elevator pitch. So Green Lantern meets Highlander, sort of, with hot superheroes and villains. I like it.
There you go. I'm going to steal that.
Well. Yes.
Darren, I'm going to steal that because I've been trying to come up with that, that elevator pitch that people can relate to. So.
That really is it. That answers it completely.
Yeah. And gentlemen, CMM, I have followed you on Twitter, so hit me back.
Well, thank you so much.
I'd love to talk to you more as well.
I will.
And Rabbi, I definitely want to talk to you more too. So.
Come back anytime. Come back when you're launching your new book.
Sounds good. I definitely will. Thanks a lot, guys.
Happy birthday to your daughter.
Oh, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Andy.
Bye. There you go. I can never kick someone from the studio. I always feel guilty. Also, whenever I'm listening to a song, I hate cutting off in the middle. I feel like I'm being rude to the people who made it.
Well, I hate coming into to a song on the radio when it's halfway through, and I love it.
Well, that's it. I don't mind carrying it on, but I feel cutting off. I'm just being terrible with it.
I understand, but it's just timing sometimes and politeness. Sometimes they don't mix.
Problem being, problem being in the chat was highly recommending the fight. What's it again? The final what?
The final game.
The final game. So tell me about your version of the final game.
Well, my version of the final game, how do I say this? My version of the final game presents as best as I can approximate, as an author, what would have happened in 1974 had Roger Delgado lived. All things being equal, all the other production values in 1974, as far as we can do, are the same. The only difference is had Roger Delgado lived, had he not been killed in Turkey.
Well, obviously, that's quite an important. Oh, wait, 1 second. I forgot. I was just about to show this to the chat. Let's pull this up. This is artwork. I gotta get something changed on it, but I'm really pretty happy with it. This is a 2-page spread, bit of Thunderbirds action. The skyline is needs to be changed to a 1960s one. Other than that, it's really, really fun. We get a little cameo from Lonely from Callan, and and that's a place in London called Soho Square. So he did well. He did well with that one. Anyway, please continue.
Sure. So it's just, if the story had been made, Roger Delgado survives, and it's what I envision would have been the final adventure between John Pertwee's Doctor and Roger Delgado's Master. It's all out now, so these aren't spoilers. It is essentially the Doctor and the Master battling the Daleks on Earth. Cool. The Daleks invade the Earth. Yeah, the Daleks invade the Earth, and the question. And at the beginning, it's a 7-part story. In the first 3 episodes, it looks like. Well, I'll take it back. The story opens as kind of a prologue, so it's set early in the classic series, season 11. And the Master, during the unit's Christmas party, arrives on Earth in a kind of a.
I love that you have the unit Christmas party. By the way, one of the things I really would like Big Finish to do, and it annoys me that they haven't done it, they should do a box set of Christmas episodes that never were made, like wouldn't that be great? Like, the poetry's great. Yeah, you do a Tom Baker Christmas episode. Who wouldn't like Tom Baker? But they're not so pro Christmassy.
Well, they these. I don't know why they've gone away. The television series has gone away from Christmas episodes. I know they have the holiday episodes now. You know why?
I'm sure I know why. Just because they're a bit too Christian. It's a bit too biblical.
Possibly, being honest, if you make something for everyone, quote unquote, sometimes you lose track of something that everyone can like, regardless of their background. And but
they're not making it for everyone. They're making it for themselves, which is they're a very small demographic.
Yeah, I agree with you. I won't lie. Starting this story. I started writing these stories, and we've only released the final game and most of another story called The Misshapen Planet, which is a First Doctor Monk story. But I didn't start making these stories for anything other than doing something fun to honor, let's just say, for The Misshapen Planet, the memory of Roger Delgado, the final game, for The Misshapen Planet, the memory of Peter Butterworth and such. But
you have a bit of Peter Butterworth as a meddling monk. You have a version of the meddling monk.
Oh yes, we do in that story. That came out of the fact that I've watched now a lot of the William Hartnell era, and I love trilogies. And if something happens once, then it happens once. If something happens twice, I see. Yes, thank you. If something happens twice, and it can happen a third time, I feel compelled in a way to see if you'll have a third story. And they did 2 stories with the monk back in the mid-'60s with William Hartnell's Doctor, and Peter Butterworth, the famous comedian and war hero, who was a POW in Germany, with the actor Peter Butterworth.
I didn't know he was a war hero. That's interesting.
Oh, he was a war. He was shot down over I think over Denmark in 1940, and he was immediately captured.
Have you ever seen the movie Dunkirk?
I have seen the movie Dunkirk, yes.
So I quite like that movie. However, when they get right to the end, and what's his name? Tom Hardy's been shot down, and he's about to become like he's being arrested by the Germans. So he's about to become a POW. That's the movie I want to bloody see.
Oh,
I want to see that movie.
Well, you know, one day you'll probably see it or something like it, or I'd love to see it too. But someone like Peter Butterworth experienced that. He was shot down. He was captured. He escaped, was recaptured, and then eventually was liberated. But he was that alone is a story. When they made a movie about it, the funny thing about Butterworth is they made a film.
You're breaking up a little bit, mate. You're breaking up a tiny bit.
Okay, hopefully you can hear me now. The funny thing about Peter Butterworth is that they made a film about the prison escape in which he participated and helped many men escape. But he auditioned to play essentially himself, or at least a character in that film. But he was told he didn't look heroic enough. But that's the irony of real life. The truth of real life is that no one looks like a hero. Someone simply does good, heroic things, sometimes by accident, sometimes by happenstance, maybe by choice. But Peter Butterworth was a genuine World War II hero. And,
so who were playing Meddling Monk in your one?
A man named, funny enough, his name is also Pete or Peter Lutz. Pete Lutz. He's from Texas. So another American man, but he does an excellent Peter Butterworth impression, brings great warmth to the characterization of the monk in our story. We have a wonderful William Hartnell voice impressionist, First Doctor.
Well,
named,
do you have any trailers?
Trailers. You know, we're I'll tell you what. Can you because I'm on a phone, so I can't easily share you a link. Can you do me a favor? You're at Blacklist Studio. Can you just scroll down? That's episode 7. Scroll down on the screen, and click on the icon for Studio 7, the avatar for Studio 7 with the red lines.
Right.
Go ahead and click there.
Going there right now.
Now you can you can't see it automatically, but go to the right-hand side of that and scroll right. So on those pictures, you'll see the right arrow. Yeah, please there. The one that says the Misshapen Planet Part 1, the Silent Signal. So you'll see the first.
You've got 2 trailers.
Well, yeah, they've got a couple of trailers, but those are for different stories. So we can hear those too. But if you want to,
where's Misshapen Planet Part 1? This one, right? Okay.
Right there. Yes, please click there, and you can the first scene is a couple minutes. You can hear it. Go ahead and click there.
Right. Well, listen to the first scene.
Yeah, first scene. The first voice you hear will be Pete Lutz as Peter Butterworth's monk, and Jerry Kokich as the Vord Pardok.
Okay.
Vord from the Keys of Marinus.
Like a bit of Vord.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's you. You don't have to treat me this way, you know. I'm giving you what you want, free and without price. All I ask is to receive what I need, and I shall head your way no longer.
You may be supplying what we want, but you shall receive nothing until we have who we want. You shall bring him to us now.
No, I won't do it. I can't. You don't know what will happen if I do.
It was believed that you would want him captured as much as we desire it.
Yes, of course.
So this is the monk talking, right?
Yes, it's the monk.
All right.
Definitely.
I trust my judgment, not yours. You might cause him more harm than is his due.
Obey our command, or suffer a needless death.
Look, if it's a specimen you need, then take what's in this black bag. It's got some of the best material in the universe. I can install it right now.
Discard the bag. We will not yield in our decision.
Are you so...
Oh, little buffer. It's almost over.
Yeah, my internet's garbage. I'm hopefully getting new internet this week. I'm really excited by it.
Oh no! Well, good luck, and either this hopefully it'll buffer. It's only just.
There you go. Go back.
Wrong. I mean, he always scares me when he shows up. He'll make you rue the day you made me make the call.
Send the signal.
I say the script's pretty good. It's certainly in the monk's voice. You're nailing that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And then that's
sorry.
Blades. It's just that. That was the end of the scene.
Okay.
And
Sorry.
go ahead and let it play if you don't mind, just a few moments longer, so you can hear the theme music, just so people can hear it. And sure, please, it'll buffer. Just you get a sense of what the
I want to play the music.
Sure, go ahead.
There you go. We'll get it.
Yeah, so go ahead and play just a moment more. Just a moment more. I want you to hear how the first Doctor sounds.
I like to hear him.
Sure, please. You'll hear the first Doctor is played by Sean Hughes, and his companion Stephen Taylor is played by Christopher Kovalenko. Imagine how they sound.
Quite peculiar.
Good. Soundscape is good.
What you make of that, my dear boy?
What am I supposed to make of it? I see nothing wrong. It's just a flashing light, Doctor.
Of course, it's a flashing light, young man.
This is good. This is good. It sounds like yeah. If I wanted to listen to like if I want to hear your Delgado and
okay. You want to hear Delgado? I want. Okay, let's go ahead and just click on videos. Yeah, go ahead and click on videos. And let's start with once it loads. Go ahead and scroll down. The final game, part 7. So right there's the third row to the number 4, the fourth on the.
You got it.
Yeah, your first thing you hear will be Roger Delgado is played by a man named my friend Terry Cooper. Tell me how you think he sounds. I think he sounds wonderful. And the third Doctor will be played by Marshall Tankersley. You'll hear how they sound.
Pathetic arrogance. Do you think I can't strike you down in the supposed safety of your ship? But I can, with my servant at my command.
If you're referring to me, I'm proud.
That, funny enough, is Mark McManus, who plays Jeremy Thorpe from your story, A Very English Scandal. That's the Prime Minister.
He played. What's going on now?
I'll have to tell you.
Follow you again. Should have listened the first time round. I stand with the Doctor.
So do I.
Okay, who's talking now?
Okay, I'll give you the setup. This is part 7, so you're throwing into the deep end. But what's happening is the Doctor and his companions, and they're a bunch, are inside the TARDIS. They've escaped from Skaro, the planet of the Daleks, and the Master is speaking to them through the TARDIS scanner. I chose this episode because it starts off, you get immediately to hear the voices. And who's speaking? The Master's speaking. Terry Cooper was the first voice you heard. Then you hear Mark McManus as Jeremy Thorpe, the Prime Minister. And this other voice you hear is Lee Rawlings, who plays the Prime Minister's bodyguard, Sam Jackson. And then you'll hear I'll introduce him, but yeah. We'll go
so have we heard the Master yet? Because probably he says he's we haven't heard him yet? Good.
You have?
He's awesome.
You have. He was the first voice you heard. So I'll introduce him.
Yeah, let's go back. I want to hear him again.
Sure. Okay, go ahead.
Pathetic arrogance.
That's the Master right here.
You think I cannot strike you
Roger
down in
Delgado.
the supposed safety of your ship? But I can, with my servant at my command.
Yeah, bro. Me and Bro Bean disagree a lot. A lot of things. Listen, I like the guys doing the performance. It doesn't sound like so much, but I guess it's subjective. But look, there's the script's good. I mean, if you're writing things. Sorry.
I'll tell you this. Keep going. Go ahead just a moment. I want you to hear the third Doctor's voice.
All right.
If you're referring to me, I'm proud to disabuse you.
Is that the third Doctor?
No. Just I'll just play it. I'll let you know when this is the third Doctor. Just play it. And I'll tell you when to stop.
I stand with the Doctor.
So do I. In case anyone else is wondering.
Jeremy, you really are the archetypal politician. Always believing yourself to be the center of the universe when you.
Oh, I want to hear your Sarah Jane Smith because because her Liz Layton's daughter is playing her on Big Finish. To me, sounds like more like Roger Delgado than Sarah Jane Smith. Sounds nothing like Sarah Jane Smith to me. Like zero.
You'll hear her. You'll hear her in a moment. Go ahead.
Yeah,
you'll hear
in
a
second.
Moment. Sure.
Your little yapping dog to protect you. And yet, my real servant is much more loyal and effective. Are you not, Captain Yates?
I hear
And I obey my master. The Doctor must die.
Now you'll hear the theme music for a moment. You can skip over the theme music if you want. Just skip ahead a few seconds.
But it was a nice move making Mike Yates the one who's being taken over.
Yes, Mike Yates has been hypnotized by the Master, and so he's got everybody at gunpoint. And so that's a setup that you've got the Doctor, the Brigadier, a whole bunch of friends, the Prime Minister. They're being held at gunpoint by Mike Yates. Now, okay, is it set? Let's see where it goes.
But first, everyone, please stand back. Do you imagine for a moment, Sergeant Benton, that I do not see you planning to attack your former colleague? That goes for you too, Mr. Jackson. Stand back, or, well, you only have the one life to lose, and these things get messy so quickly.
Benton, do as he says. Mike's finger's on the trigger.
Get back, Jackson. Get back. All right. We're moving.
Hey, Benton's good. I like your Benton.
Thank you. Yeah, you'll hear the Doctor moment. Keep going.
Be careful.
Don't you worry about me, chum. I know the master of old.
It's so helpful when the guard dogs have a very short leash. Now, Yates, you may explain, and then you will kill the Doctor.
Yes, master.
I tell you what. I want you to go ahead and pause it. I want you to hear the Doctor's voice. So let's see.
Yeah, me too. That's why I would like to hear the Doctor.
So I want to hear. Let's see here.
I heard a little bit of Liz and Sarah Jane. It was pretty good. But I would like to hear more.
Okay, well, let me just give me a second to think of where you would hear the third Doctor's voice. Go ahead to go ahead and go back to the video list. So I don't want to make people hear too much.
Play again?
No. Go ahead. Go back to the video list. Go back to the video list.
Fine. Okay.
So on the channel, and go to part 6. So scroll down a little bit. Scroll down a little. Keep going, and then keep going. Okay.
You've got a trailer there. Why are we playing the trailer?
Oh, because the trailer doesn't have the voice. Go ahead into the part 6. Part 6 right there. Go ahead, click there. Now, is this part 6?
I thought it was. So what I pressed. Yeah, episode 6.
Yeah. Okay, let us start. You'll hear the first Doctor at the beginning.
And tell the Thanos.
Oh, he's good.
Yes.
That the Doctor sent you. And that the Doctor gives his charge for them to rise and to fight. They will know my name. Now, go.
All right, Doctor. We'll go by your name.
No, Doctor, no, I can't.
That's Sarah Jane.
Yeah, she's not bad. I think she's better than Sadie Miller.
Thank you. Sarah Wheatley is her name.
I hate to tell you that's not a high bar. So am I. Okay.
Some people can do it. Some people, I'm grateful they have her. And I haven't heard her. She may, to my ear, she may be very good, but I haven't heard her yet. But that's a sampling of our voices.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you do you mainly work with like Americans or all nationalities?
Anyone who can come. I mean, the guy that plays the Marshall Tankersley, who's our John Pertwee voice, he is American.
Right.
Our William Hartnell voice, Sean Hughes, he's British. Our Sarah Jane actress, she's American. At least in the story.
Okay. I'm going to give you two ideas
sure.
of saying that you could do pure Doctor Who, which I would love to listen to in American accents, and it would work. Right? You got two. I'm going to give you two really, really good working options. One, do an adaptation of the Doctor Who the 90s Doctor Who movie or TV show, right? Which is going to be primarily American act, or even better. Do the show that was going to come that the 96 movie was supposed to be a pilot for, right? And then you could make it like a 42-minute show with the ad breaks in the right area. Give it that real feel. I always thought that'd be good. But the thing that's really been wide open to be mine, right, is the no one's ever made an adaptation of the Dalek comic strips, right, from the 60s. That you do basically with Dalek voices and you have the Was it this special space? So they could all be American accents.
Yeah,
and that's like there's crying out to be made.
Well, we'd have to do it. If we want to make it as realistic as possible, we'd have to make the American accents sound as if they're British actors speaking like Americans.
Okay. So what you do is you imagine it that Terry Nason sold the show to America.
Yeah.
And then do it that way. But I think I you know what I've always wanted. Actually, this is what I always want to hear. And imagine an American channel bought the rights to make their version of Doctor Who, so you get an American Doctor Who. Again, Peter Dinklage, perfect for the Doctor. I'd love to see him play the Doctor.
That would be a brilliant idea. I know that I'm torn with it because I would love to hear a different nationality or let's say his take on Doctor Who from an American perspective or something. But there is something so beautifully British about Doctor Who that I'd hate to tamper with that ethos of the series. But I can say this. That of the actors that I'm using, they come from America, mostly British, but some Americans, some Canadians, even some Australians. But the bar that we have, or that we try to reach, is that I try to find people that can sound as close to the original actors as possible. So it's not going to be me. I write the scripts, but it's not going to be me doing the voice of the Doctor or the Master, because I'm not an impressionist. I can't make their voices. It will be someone like Marshall Tankersley who can do John Pertwee, or Terry Cooper who can do Roger Delgado, or Pete Lutz who can do Peter Butterworth, or Sean Hughes that can do the First Doctor, and so forth, or Gareth Fletcher who can do the Brigadier.
Vocally in the same ballpark, right? Oh, otherwise, it's like, no, I hear that completely. Otherwise, of course, it's crazy. But like, you know, I like how you're good dramas is people giving performances, which is what I can hear that's coming out of your one, which thank you. That's why I don't think it matters so much that they don't sound like exactly like the people, because like I found your monk to be different, but he was giving his own take on that performance. He
does.
And you know, I like it, and it's not that he's playing a different incarnation; it's a different take on that performance, and it works. In those skills, I think. In that way, I think it works. But again, I would love to see an American version of Doctor Who. You know, they did like an American version of Being Human.
Well, I think sure.
This is going to blow your mind. Okay. Like Sanford and Son, that's a British show. There's a bunch of shows which are like that was actually Steptoe and Son.
Steptoe and Son. I'll have to look it up. Okay.
Yeah, but so the American Networks bought the scripts and they made their own version, right? Okay. So that like imagine they did something like that, and I would really like to see an Americanized Doctor Who, like not instead of Doctor Who, but I think it's like honestly, I was on board for Jodie until she opened her mouth and was awful.
Well, you know, it's amazing how things can go that can start off seemingly well, and then they go differently than you expect. I mean, I'm not against Jodie. I'm not against Doctor Who in any form. I won't lie with you. I'm not pleased. I'm not thrilled with how Doctor Who is now. And I've always been open about that. I'm not revealing any secrets. I was open about that even after Series 11. Partly because I wasn't terribly thrilled with how nothing from Series 11's episodes grabbed me like, oh my goodness, this is an excellent episode, or this is thrilling. And Series 12 either didn't thrill me or frankly worried me, considering what they did with the Timeless Children, which, you know, I always get worried when you have a long-lasting show and they start reworking the canon to the point where it's maybe no longer recognizable. That
honestly, there's a lot that's bad about the Jodie era. For me, I don't consider it Doctor Who. I think it decanonized itself, but it gets really bad. It's boring.
It's very on the nose. It's very, as they say, it's very in your face, as we would say over here. Something like Orphan 55 with some of the Doctor's speeches at the end.
Yeah, on the nose.
Yeah, everyone hates Orphan 55. I don't like it, at least. Well, it's all. Well, look, it's garbage. That's the word I've used for Orphan 55 too. I mean, Orphan 55, I think was. I have a friend who has done some stuff with film, and he watched Orphan 55, and he said to me, if I were the art director of the episode Orphan 55, and they'd come to be showing me the character hyphen with a 3, and they showed me, well, this is what we come up with for her costume. He said I would have told them to start from scratch and to scrap the design because it really looked. Compare how I think with the 3Q.
Before we get to the design, the script was garbage.
Oh, the script is
everything about it is just it was so preachy, so boring, so on the nose. It was Greta Thunberg making Doctor Who, and amazingly she shitted it. You know, it's just absolutely useless at it. But I mean, like the people making it now. They're not much better. Let's be clear.
Well, the people that are making it, I'm sure that they are. Well, I will just be very honest. I think a lot of the people that are making it now, they may be giving their all. They may be doing quote unquote their best. But I think a lot of people have not been hired that from a sci-fi background, and it's a tough thing when you clear house from what came before, and you get rid of all your authors. Because you look, none of the authors that have been doing Doctor Who prior to Jodie's era, people that were in the new series. You know, a Mark Gatiss let's say they had Stephen Moffat, you know, the opportunity to get Stephen Moffat back. I don't think and Moffat really wanted to write an episode. I don't think they'd use him. I think that they're using now just purely their own friends, their own people. It's a complete clean break. Sometimes
they're hiring people based purely on their identity.
Yeah.
That's what's good. It's completely on their identity.
Yes,
and when they do a halfway decent script, and it's not good. Like they expect like the biggest plaudits ever. Like Vinay Patel can't work out why he's not like being treated like Robert Holmes. Right?
Well, are you talking about something like Demons of the Punjab there or something? What was the other one he did? I mean, you know.
I mean, they're all garbage. What can I tell you?
Well, that's why I'm writing these episodes now. It didn't start that way. Like I said a little while ago, I started writing these episodes and I want to give a shout out. I am not the guy that does the sound design. I write the episodes. I do most of the casting. I'm not the sound designer. That's Gareth Severn. He is a wizard genius and a wonderful man, and he does excellent sound design. That's why it's Studio Severn. It's his. He's kind of like a sister production. He does also some other audio dramas, and we can hear some of his too. But he does great audio design, and he is meticulous in trying to make it sound like the episode of the era. So we are trying to make our episodes, like a Doctor Who episode that will have aired in 1974, or 1981, or 1966. The point is, we are trying to make it. It started off as tribute episodes for fun, but now because we started just as Jodie Whittaker was getting started, before Series 11 started airing. In the time since, I've seen Series 11. I've seen Series 12. I can see probably what's coming in Series 13. And I have thought to myself, look, Doctor Who's just not cutting it anymore. Doctor Who has kind of fallen short, and it's going to continue to fall short as long as they keep on this path, believing that they are better than ever before. And so I'm not trying to be a standard bearer or anything, but I am thinking to myself, well, I have it in my power to write episodes in my free time. I have a day job, I have my own life, but in my free time, I can write, and I can write quickly. That's a little talent. In this free time that I have, write these episodes and make them as faithful and as good as I can be to how Doctor Who used to be, up until, I would say, even the Peter Capaldi era. I love Peter Capaldi's era.
I love Peter Capaldi. Oh, man, more Capaldi. I just want to show you this video is coming out tomorrow. They just did this excruciating interview in Doctor Who magazine, being asked questions by the fans, and they're so dumb. It took me an hour to go through it. That's why I'm calling it Journey to the Bottom of the IQs.
You know what's interesting? Right now, it feels like you might be on a vacation. And you end up you go to a restaurant and you're told the restaurant is the best ever, and you get there and it's terrible, but someone in your group says, oh, it's the best ever food I've ever tasted. They're being positive, but positive only for positive sake. There's no substance behind it. I almost feel as if I look at these interviews, I look at these TV spots, if there are any, or any advertisements, and you see these, everyone's smiling, everyone's happy, and I'm an optimist. But you have to be an optimist grounded in reality. When you are an optimist simply not optimist, when you're positive for positivity's sake and have nothing except, oh, it's great, I think to myself that you are on a pathway doomed to failure, because you have no ideas left. You have no reason to be positive, just simply, if I am negative, then I am admitting the reality. I am admitting reality. If you're positive for positivity's sake, you are avoiding reality. There's something that's making you avoid what's happening in front of your face. And I see this. I see Doctor Who now. And I get passionate about this. I've watched Doctor Who for a long time. I love it. I see this now and I think to myself, this is the face of a series that 5 years from now you will say, my gosh, I wish it would never happen. I wish that I'd never known what this was.
Oh yeah, listen, I don't think they're getting past this season. I'll be amazed if they get past this season.
You know, I have talked to fans who were around when Doctor Who ended the first time, the classic series, right?
Who's on right now, baby?
Sure. What's happening right now? Seems to be one big difference. There's different fans have told me slightly different viewpoints. Some have said, the BBC were tired of it. The fans were tired of it. Some say the fans only dislike JNT. But the point is, it generally coalesces around one idea. Both the production team and the fans were walking away from Doctor Who. They didn't hate it necessarily, but they were done with it. Right now, the big difference.
No, what it was. I have to tell you, I think it was completely down to the imploding relationship between John Nathan Turner and Eric Saywood. Everything else, Well, I think that made bad Doctor Who, which made the fans very mad, right? Yeah. But I think it's all because Eric Saywood should have left 2 years earlier.
Maybe he should have. And I can understand. I probably largely agree with that. But no matter what, fans and production both were done. The big difference between then and that way, Doctor Who could, with whatever dignity it had left, and I enjoy the McQuayer, but whatever dignity it had, it could leave with dignity. It could end with dignity, and then 15 years later, rise in triumph. Right now, the difference is many of the fans are done, but the BBC is saying it is better than ever before, and we're going to keep going to the sickly sweet end.
Look, don't take a dump on my doorstep and tell me it's chocolate, which is what they're doing.
Yeah, that's what they're doing, and that is never a recipe for success. In fact, that's a recipe for the fire in your house. I get worked up about it. And it breaks my heart because I love this series and I want it to be successful. I don't want to be in the position where I, as just a lone man in a room, am making audio dramas for fun that some people the comments I get are very positive, saying this is better than what's being made on television. I haven't set out to purposely make something better than the official stuff, but I am happy to make this.
You're not doing so bad. I have to tell you, you're not doing so bad.
Thank you. Well, look, I'm going to keep making these stories. I'll tell you what we have in the future. You've asked about things that you'd like to hear. One thing that's coming up next after we get done with the Misshapen Planet, because the final game's done, the Misshapen Planet's got one more episode. Once that's done, we're going to do, and maybe you've heard of this, we're going to do a story called Yellow Fever and How to Cure It.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
The scripts are all ready. Everything's been recorded. We have a wonderful Colin Baker impressionist named Steve Callum, who was the Sixth Doctor voice actor. I wish I could let you hear it, but we don't have any trailers yet. We haven't designed it, but take my word for it. It's really good if you want. Excellent voice actors to play the Sixth Doctor and Perry. You will hear the Anti-Alien Master. You'll hear the Kato Mara Rani. You'll hear the Brigadier. You'll hear the Autons. You'll hear more than one style of Autons. And what was really nice is that once we announced that we're going to do this story, it's set in Singapore, a whole bunch of wonderful Doctor Who fans from Singapore asked to take part. So the people that
very cool.
Singapore, so you will hear the voices that you hear are people from Singapore or from China.
Wait. I want to just time ask you: are you the people doing the 10th Doctor, the David Tennant fan drama? Or do you know who they are? You would like to know.
Well, we have a 10th Doctor drama called Rebirth. That's a part one. That's one of Gareth's stories.
Right.
I might as well say it. There are a couple big projects we have on the horizon. One is what I just told you, Yellow Fever. Another is the Sarah Jane Adventures Series 5, Volume 2.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is telling the 3 unmade stories that would have been Liz Sladen wasn't able to after she died. So that's Meet Mr. Smith, The 13th Floor, and The Battle of Bannerman Road.
Cool.
We have
wonderful time. It's very up for your Yellow Fever story.
Say that again?
It had the master in it, didn't it?
Oh, Yellow Fever? Absolutely.
Yeah, the master.
Yeah, the master's in that story. Oh, yeah. Oh, Yellow Fever, Robert Holmes' lost story. So want that. Yes. let me tell you, that's another story. Well, I wrote that one, and writing. I'll put it this way: trying to recreate a John Pertwee, Roger Delgado story, the final game, I mean, it's not easy, but it's not that hard because it practically writes itself.
Right.
Trying to write a Colin Baker, Anthony Ainley story without a script, set in the Lost Stories era of Colin Baker, is not as easy.
It's set in the like you know, it's one that really doesn't have much about it at all.
No,
we
know very little.
Did you see the Big Finish? Hear the Big Finish Lost Stories?
Oh yes, I listened to those to prepare to write Yellow Fever.
Oh, very cool, very cool.
Well,
I quite like the sequel to the Guardian Prophecy. It was the sequel to with the Belka Keeper of Trial.
Well, the Guardians of Prophecy. Well, put it this way: I listened to the Guardians of Prophecy to prepare for another story that I've written called The Ancestor Weave, which is the Fifth Doctor Nyssa on Serenity. The Fifth Doctor Nyssa visits Serenity.
That's very cool.
And they deal with
so I always had this fan theory that the Melka is some kind of version of a weeping angel, and it has all these like magical properties in it. And
Can I tell you? Can I tell you
I'll
that?
say,
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, you go ahead.
Oh, sure. I will say this. That's a very good theory, and I can confirm or deny nothing, but I can say that there will be an interesting revelation about what the Melkers are that may have something to do with the Time Lords.
Okay, but I always got the impression that the master was trying to like fuse with it or something and got like trapped, right? Basically, you know, there's a lot of interesting stuff when it comes to the Master in the Tom Baker years because we don't know much about him, his movements, and given the nature of the Master of that era, excuse me, I'll put it this way. Again, let's go back to the final game. It's very easy to write Third Doctor Delgado Master dynamic. You have a lot of source material. It practically writes itself. It is very hard to write a Fourth Doctor Master story because you don't have a dynamic. And I'll tell you what's really right.
hard.
And the one Big Finish I've done, have felt kind of weird for that reason.
Well, yes, because again, you're trying to create a dynamic between two well-known characters that largely doesn't exist on screen. And let's face it, Jeffrey Beavers as the Master is wonderful, but he is mostly audio. You have about 90 seconds of 90 seconds of footage between him and Tom Baker back in 1981. But I'll tell you what's really hard. I've got an upcoming story trilogy called The Master Requiem, which tells the final days after the final game of the Roger Delgado Master. And that's think of this. Take the Roger Delgado Master, and he fits in the Barry Letts era easily. Take the Roger Delgado Master and try to fit him into the Philip Hinchcliffe era. That's
basically impossible. You have to. That's weird.
Oh I will say it's hard, but it's not impossible because I've written the scripts.
You've done it. I get it. You done it.
Oh, treat Delgado as like a vampire. Treat Delgado as like a vampire. It's very interesting stuff. I won't give away too much about it, but we've got these. It's a wonderful opportunity to play in the sandbox of Doctor Who, and then to take these familiar things and not throw them so far away that you can't recognize them, but take them in different ways that you might not have expected it. I've got a story coming up called The Haunting of Zeraphas, which is Fifth Doctor Tegan Nyssa on planet Zeraphas from the story Time Flight, and they find the Master there. But what's the Master's condition? It's kind of cool. He might not be Anthony Ainley. Let's put it that way. So we've got stories like that coming up. I'll tell you the big one that I'm really looking. Cool. I'll tell you one big one that we've got coming up that I want to really quickly mention. It's you'll probably recognize this title, The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith.
Right, yes, indeed.
Do you know what that one is?
It was Sarah Jane Adventures. They had one. They had that story.
They have had that story. Now, what's in that story that was supposed to be there that's not? Who, I should say.
What?
Who was supposed to be in that story, The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith, that wasn't in the story? Do you know much about that story?
No, as far as I know, it was like Nigel Havers who was in it.
He was in it, yeah, but someone else who was supposed to be in it was Nicholas Courtney as the Brigadier.
Oh, right. I do recall. Yes.
It's very sad. He had a stroke shortly before filming and wasn't able to... They had to write him out. But you would have had the 10th Doctor, played by David Tennant, of course, meeting the Brigadier. Well, I am, of all Doctor Who, I am a massive Brigadier fan. I love the Brigadier.
Well, have you heard was it John Coltrane playing him?
I have heard a little bit of John Coltrane playing. I think he does a good job.
He's very good.
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
Good.
And I think, and we know that they're going to bring him and the 9th Doctor together in an upcoming audio. Well, a couple of years back, I through a wonderful series of practically miraculous events, being very honest, I had the opportunity to assemble a professional film crew.
Right.
And we filmed on a Blackmagic camera on a green screen soundstage with authentic costumes. We made, the scenes of the Brigadier from The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith. And I am in the process of creating a new version of the television episode where you will see, and we have actors playing both characters. You will see the 10th Doctor and the Brigadier meet, and it's not. And yeah, you'll get to see the 10th Doctor and the Brigadier meet on screen. So that's a big. That we've already announced that. That's our big.
That'd be crazy. Okay. That sounds
Wait
very
until
cool.
you see it.
Listen, dude. For me, it's 11:30, right?
All right.
Tomorrow is a fast day, which means I can't eat until like 8:18, right? So I gotta go. I gotta have something to eat. It's past my bedtime, mate. Past my bedtime. I'm a gentle soul. Let me tell you. So listen, go check out Gentleman CNM, not Gentleman Come. Okay, don't make that mistake. Gentleman CNM. We put the links in the video notes, so we put the links in the chat. Go check out. Listen. It's free.
Yes, it is.
The old Jewish joke that I'm going to end with. God goes going around different nations and offering them the Bible, the 10 Commandments, right? And so he goes, the Airith is turning him down, and eventually comes to the Jews, and they say, we want to offer you this thing called the Bible, the Torah, and we say, well, how much is it? Is it, we want to offer you the commandments, right? So, well, how much is it? God says it's free. As we say, we'll take 10.
Well,
so there you go. Gentlemen, comments here. You're never late to the party, mate, but we're leaving. By the way, you've got to come on the show. Your new book, I saw on Twitter, looks really, really good. I'm really excited about it. Fine. Okay, I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to have something to eat. I'm in the end.